Have you ever been completely alone? Perhaps just making a cup of tea, or folding the laundry, and suddenly realized you've been talking out loud for several minutes? Maybe you were narrating what you were doing, or perhaps you were responding to a thought, as if someone had just asked you a question. And for a split second, you might have felt a little sheepish, or wondered if it was a bit strange to be your own conversation partner. If that sounds familiar, I want to start by telling you something very simple, and hopefully very grounding. You are not odd, you are not lonely in some broken way, and you are certainly not the only one who does this. In fact, it's a beautifully human thing to do, a quiet, private rhythm that many of us share, but rarely talk about at dinner parties or in casual conversation. We often think of talking as something meant only for others, a bridge between two people, but there is a deep internal bridge that sometimes needs the sound of a voice to feel sturdy. When we are alone, the boundary between our inner thoughts and the outer world can become a little softer, and sometimes our thoughts just seem to spill over the edges of our minds and turn into sound. It isn't about a lack of company. It's often about the way we process the world, the way we make sense of our feelings, and the way we companion ourselves through the day. This is the part many people don't realize. Talking to yourself isn't a sign that something is missing, but rather a sign that your mind is active, engaged, and looking for clarity. Think about those moments when you're trying to solve a tricky problem, or follow a complex set of instructions, and you find yourself whispering the steps out loud. You might say, okay, first this goes here, then I need to find that blue piece, and suddenly the task feels a little more manageable. There's something about hearing the words in the air that makes them feel more real, more tangible, than when they're just flickering through your head like shadows. Some people find that their internal monologue is like a crowded room, with thoughts bumping into each other and competing for attention. And speaking out loud is like turning on a flashlight in a dark space. It lets you focus on one thing at a time. It's a way of organizing the clutter. When you speak, you have to choose one word after another, which naturally slows down the speed of your thinking and gives you a chance to actually catch up with yourself. It can feel like you're laying down a path as you walk it, step by step, word by word. You might notice you do this more often when you're stressed, or when life feels a bit overwhelming. And that makes so much sense, because the sound of a voice, even your own, can be incredibly grounding. It's a way of saying, I am here, I am doing this, and I am moving through it. Here is where self-talk becomes comforting. It's often a way we offer ourselves the kindness we might usually reserve for a friend. Have you ever made a small mistake, like dropping a glass or forgetting your keys, and softly said to yourself, it's okay, just take a breath, we can fix this? In those moments, you are playing two roles at once. You are the one who is frustrated, but you are also the one who is providing the comfort. You become your own witness and your own support system. It's a gentle way of being present with yourself, acknowledging a moment of difficulty without needing anyone else to validate it for you. It's surprisingly common to find ourselves replaying conversations from earlier in the day or even years ago, and finally saying out loud what we wish we had said then. We might practice the perfect retort, or explain our feelings more clearly to the empty air of our living room. Some might see this as living in the past, but it's often just a way of processing emotions that didn't get a chance to be heard at the time. It's like a dress rehearsal for our own lives, a way of smoothing out the rough edges of our social interactions, so we can feel a bit more settled. And speaking of rehearsals, many people notice they talk to themselves when they're preparing for something big, a job interview, a difficult conversation, or a presentation. By hearing the words leave your mouth, you get to feel their weight and their rhythm, and it helps you feel more prepared for the moment when those words will finally be heard by someone else. It's a form of practice that builds a sense of familiarity with your own thoughts. But it's not always about big moments or stressful problems. Sometimes it's just about the simple joy of narration. You might find yourself describing your cat's morning routine, or commenting on the weather as you look out the window. This kind of talk can make the world feel a little more alive, a little more shared, even when you're the only person in the room. It's as if you're inviting the world to be part of your inner life. People often do this because, in the silence of being alone, the mind doesn't always want to be quiet. It wants to connect, and when no one else is there, it connects with itself. This isn't a sign of being disconnected from reality. If anything, it's a sign of being deeply connected to your own experience. It can feel like you're simply making space to be fully present, giving your thoughts a physical form so they don't just stay trapped inside. Many people find that talking out loud helps them stay focused on the present moment, especially during repetitive tasks. If you're gardening or cleaning, narrating your actions can turn a mundane chore into a kind of mindful flow. You're not just doing the laundry, you're engaging with the process, acknowledging the work of your hands, and keeping yourself company. This is a part of the human experience that is actually quite beautiful. The ability to be a companion to yourself. It suggests a level of self-awareness and a comfort with one's own mind that is something to be cherished, not hidden away. There's a certain intimacy in these private conversations. When you talk to yourself, you don't have to perform. You don't have to filter your thoughts for someone else's comfort. And you don't have to worry about being misunderstood. You can be completely honest, completely raw, or completely silly. It's a space where you can explore ideas without judgment. Some find themselves asking questions out loud and then waiting, as if the answer might come from the air itself, and often it does, because the act of asking the question out loud allows a different part of the mind to provide the answer. It's like a collaboration between the different layers of who you are. This process can feel clarifying, as if you're sorting through a drawer of tangled strings, and finally finding the ends. It's important to remember that this habit doesn't mean you're lonely, or that you lack social connection. You can have a life full of friends and family, and still find yourself talking to the walls when you're finally alone. In fact, for many, this is a way of recharging after being around others. After a day of translating your thoughts for the world, it can be a relief to just let them out in their natural, unedited form. It's a way of returning to yourself. Some notice that their self-talk changes depending on their mood. Sometimes it's a whisper, sometimes it's a firm directive, and sometimes it's a long, wandering story. All of these variations are just different ways your mind is trying to navigate the complexities of being alive. It can feel like a grounding force when things are moving too fast, a way of catching your breath and saying, wait, let's look at this for a second. There's a certain bravery in it, too, to speak into the silence and be okay with being the only one who hears. It's a quiet sign of self-reliance. You are proving to yourself, perhaps without even realizing it, that you have the resources within you to work through things, to find comfort, and to keep yourself grounded. When you talk to yourself, you're often just making space to be fully present, acknowledging that your thoughts are worth hearing, even if only by you. It's a way of honoring your own internal life. As you go through your day, you might start to notice these moments more often, and instead of feeling a flicker of embarrassment, maybe you can meet them with a bit of curiosity and warmth. Notice the tone you use with yourself. Is it the tone of a coach, a friend, or a narrator? Notice how it feels in your throat, and how the room feels a little less empty once the sound has filled it. This is a common, natural extension of our inner dialogue becoming audible, when there's no need to perform for anyone else. It's a private ritual of the mind, a way of bridging the gap between what we think and what we experience. There is something deeply reassuring about the fact that so many of us do this, tucked away in our own corners of the world, having these little meetings with ourselves. It reminds us that being human is a shared experience, even in our most solitary moments. You might find that the next time you catch yourself explaining a recipe to an empty kitchen, or debating a decision while you're in the shower, you'll smile at the sound of your own voice. You'll realize that you're simply being a good friend to yourself, providing the listening ear that you need in that moment. It's not about confusion, and it's certainly not about being disconnected. It's about the simple, profound act of being your own witness. In the end, talking to yourself is a quiet sign of self-awareness, a moment when you become your own listener and realize that you are never truly alone as long as you have the company of your own mind. It's a way of making the world feel a little more coherent, a little more personal, and a little more kind. So, if you find yourself speaking into the quiet today, let it be a reminder of your own presence. Let it be a way of settling into yourself and finding a bit of clarity in the midst of everything else. It's a beautiful thing to be someone who can talk and listen all at once, navigating the world one word at a time. If this reflection resonated with you, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for being here.